ERC, quality service since 1972. Repairing TVs, console stereos, electronic musical instruments, pinball machines, arcade games, and more. Call 836-0454.
You've clicked on the Weather Xtreme video from ABC 3340. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters with you for this Sunday, December the 28th edition. And let's get right to some Skycam images. Streets are wet up in Jasper. And the rain that has moved through here, and you can't see much as Cheehaw is in the clouds this morning. And we're looking out over the city of Birmingham. The lights reflecting both off the clouds and off the raindrops on the camera lens. Surface front has moved through central Alabama, or is moving through central Alabama this morning, and that'll be stalling out across the southern part of the state, but I think that it'll stay pretty much to our south. There's our trough that we've been watching off to the west that is ejecting across the Great Lakes this morning and helping to bring that front into the southeastern U.S. Temperature still very mild ahead of it. Look at that. The eastern Great Lakes, where they've had lake effect snows over the last several week or so, they're in the 50s up there this morning. Isn't that amazing? And a nice band of warm, moist air. A little bit cooler back to the west, but not especially cold. And here's a look at our temperatures this morning. And I think for the most part, for central Alabama, we may dip down into the upper 40s, but I think for the most part, temperatures will stay pretty steady in the 50s today. There's a look at radar. We're still dealing with a little bit of banding across the area, and of course, came through without any lightning or thunder last night for the most part. Maybe you heard a couple of peals further to the north, but certainly not anything of any significance. QPF pretty much not showing a lot through Friday. I think Friday is our next really good chance at rain, and most of the rain you see that's on this chart is that from this morning. All right, here's the 06Z GFS model run, and this is the maps for today at midday, noon, 18Z. There goes the trough up over the eastern Great Lakes and up into southeastern Canada. By tomorrow, we're getting another little shot, a little trough moving through, but I think what that will do is actually ride along the front across South Alabama, but I think for the most part central Alabama probably will be rain free, and we should see pretty good conditions on Monday. You can see the band of rain down there across Georgia and the Carolinas and into the northern Gulf of Mexico, but I think for us we'll see plenty of sunshine tomorrow. The upward pattern seems to flatten out with the main storm track considerably further north right now, and that should keep us dry on the 30th. By the 31st, the last day of the year, there comes a little shortwave kind of across the Great Lakes area, and I don't think that's going to have much of an impact on us. We may see some high cirrus clouds, but certainly a glancing blow and maybe reinforcing a little cooler air. By the 1st of 2009, here comes another trough into the north central part of the United States, and that is going to be digging out a trough over the eastern part by the 2nd, and we should be dry for the most part until Friday the 2nd. And then things get a little messy, and also look at the colder air coming back down with that trough that's developing over the eastern half of the country. That little trough seems to move off very quickly. The flow is very, very fast right now. We come under a bit of a ridge, so it looks like we're going to dry out for the weekend, and while it will turn cooler, it does not look like any extreme cold for us, at least for now. We get under a ridge pattern for the most part for the eastern half of the country, but notice the deeper trough on the western half of the country, and that's going to be carving out some colder air in the longer range way out in Voodoo, and it looks like we should be dry on Sunday, but moisture returning off to our west as the surface high moves off to the east and gets off the Carolina coast. Now, let's get out into a little bit further. This is Monday, and there comes our trough. And that certainly is deepening over the western half of the country, and that brings out a storm system on Monday, and that also with moisture increasing, we may be into a showery pattern. Now let's get into Voodoo, and as the NAO has been suggesting, it looks like we're going to go colder, and here comes a big trough over the eastern half of the country. This is the 9th. And that certainly poses some very interesting questions. This is the 8th. It's midnight on the 8th, and certainly poses some interesting questions. But just like yesterday, I'm not planning to jump out into it. However, it is interesting to notice the continuity that it certainly is showing something that could be wintry icy, snowy for the southeastern U.S. But again, this is voodoo, so it's a long way out. We'll be watching it. And the overall trough pattern remains at the end of the period. This is the 12th of January, the 2009, and that also remains rather problematic, with some interesting scenario using the 540 line at least as a guide as to where we might see some wintry precipitation. So, if anything, 2009 looks like it's going to be interesting. We certainly appreciate you tuning into the Weather Xtreme video. I'll have the next one tomorrow morning, but I'm working for Jason tomorrow and Tuesday morning. So, the Weather Xtreme videos will be a little bit later, closer towards the 9:30 to 10 o'clock hour. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great Sunday, and Godspeed.
Weather.